I have this gorgeous Inktense paint pan set number 2 by Derwent, and I thought it might be nice to do a little technique video using them. I'm first of all popping some Inktense down using wet on dry technique. I'm adding it to my all media card, so this is nothing fancy that I'm doing. Now I've added a little bit on the right there, and what I'm then going to do is just scratch into it using a skewer, and you can see there how adding those little indents into the Inktense allows some of the Inktense to flow into those little channels, and that then darkens. And if you go back over it again with some more of the Inktense, and this will work with watercolour as well, that will deepen those grooves even more. This is an absolutely fantastic technique to use. I've gone ahead and painted a little landscape, and I'll add that right at the end of the video so that you can see how it works in practice. So I'm going back over the top of the first little swatch that I did, glazing over the top there to see how deep I can make these colours. I'm allowing the Inktense to dry in between each layer so that I don't get any unruly lines forming, and I'm being careful how much water I add to the page as well. Here I'm adding some very, very dilute Inktense onto the page, and if I then gently add a little bit of a stronger mix of Inktense, that will then spread into the centre of that, but it'll contain that colour where I put the initial dilute paint down. So now I'm going to pick up some water, and I'm watching a little rectangle of water. This will be my wet on wet. So I'm going to see how much of this Inktense I can pick up with a tissue, because I particularly love this technique where you get a clean tissue and then just dab it and see how much you can pick up. Now, it does seem to stain a lot easier than paint, but it's still a really nice technique. So you can see there how it's really easy to make sort of cloud formations. It's also really nice for seascapes and things like that. I was checking that my paper is now dry, and I'm going in with another glaze of Inktense over the top and seeing how nice and deep I can make that little swatch at the base. And it layers up absolutely beautifully. I think it's very hard to go wrong with Inktense. You don't tend to get as many unruly lines happening. So I've made myself a nice little line down the centre of my base swatch. And what I'm going to do now is add a little stripe of water, and I'm seeing how well it lifts off the paper. Now this is a lovely technique for adding lighter detail by using a little bit of water on your brush to lift off some of the colour. Now I'm taking some plain water and splashing it onto my original swatch to see, once it's dried, whether I can lift that colour off that swatch. Now it's completely dried, you can see that it doesn't lift once it's dry, which is quite interesting. So once it's dry, you're not able to shift it with extra water. You can see how transparent those colours are, even though they're layered up. They look absolutely lovely, and I love that scratching technique. This is the Inktense paint pan set number 2. I've thoroughly enjoyed using this, and this is a little tiny landscape that I did using those techniques that I've described there. I sketched it out using the skewer, so it made a lot of really nice texture on the picture. And you can see there, if you look closely, that forms fantastic texture on the cliffs and also in the sea, and the colour just layers up beautifully and gives a lovely gradient wash. So I'm really pleased how these worked. I'm absolutely loving using them. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this, and if you have, do give me a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.